It's Jane with Scraptastic Yarns, and I'm not real sure why this looks fuzzy to me. But we're just going to have to go with it because I can't fight with it any longer. Alright. I do have a couple of WIPS. I have some projects that I've worked on. As you know, I restarted the back for that one top. And here is where I was when I started it. And I've gotten it up to this point so far. Not too bad, it's coming along. And at least now it's the right size. That's half the battle, right? For one of the other blankets, let me find my stitch marker. Where are you? I know you're in here somewhere. There you are. That is where I stopped last time. I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 15 rows, because one row is one of these just chain 3 and single crochet. So that blanket is well on its way. And yeah. The other blanket, let me find that stitch marker, because it's in here somewhere. Or it was. But I've gotten quite a bit done on these. Well, where is it? You probably see it and I can't see it. It's got to be on the other side, right? There it is. Right there on this row is where I finished. And I've added a few more rows on this granny square. This is just a plain granny square. I'm using up Simply Soft and that Very Soft so that I can get rid of those. You know, it's just needed to get some things done, so I sat down. I've done a lot of crocheting this week, found time to do it, so did it. So there. I'm glad that I did it. Now, as of yesterday evening, I put up the Summer Crossings Shawl Cowl tutorial. Basically, that's kind of what I'm calling it. And I have done the first several rows and talk you through the repeats, you know, tell you how the repeats go and ways to change it up so that you do have that beautiful shell as a border if you want to have it as a border. That is up as of last night. I did, as I was filming, realize there were some mistakes in that. So I did correct that on the PDF. And there is now it is called an updated Summer Crossing shawl in the Scraptastic Yarns Facebook group under the files. And that is free. This shawl you are more than welcome to crochet and sell finished items from. This is really bothering me. Is that better? Don't know if that's better or not. Anyway, you are more than welcome to sell finished items that you have crocheted from this shawl pattern. But you are not allowed to sell the pattern itself or to claim that you created it. You can create your own. That is the wonderful thing about shawl patterns. If you know the basics of creating shawls, you can create all kinds of shawls with stitches, crochet stitches. So I would suggest that you venture out and try some things. You can not only create shawls, but blankets, you name it, all kinds of things, just by being a little adventurous and trying your hand at these things. I am no expert by any means, and I am not a great teacher when it comes to tutorials. I am trying to learn to pass that information on to you because I have decided that I will also do the spring garden shawl that I created. I have already found several mistakes in it, and am correcting those mistakes to update that PDF on the Scraptastic Yarns Facebook group so that you can use it, and I will do a tutorial with it. I will be putting out a left-handed one tomorrow of the shawl. I just hadn't got to that yet. So, bear with me. I'm working on it. Do have to change a couple of things in it to get it out there. So, yes, that's what I am up to. Other than that, I'm just going along, and every day I go outside and work a little bit on that stupid bamboo that's growing out there in hopes to kill it. So far, bamboo 1, Jane 0. So, yeah, I'm working at it. I did have a friend tell me to use just pure Epsom salts on it. I haven't done that yet. We have done mixtures, Epsom salts, vinegar, cleaning vinegar, those kind of things. Sea salt, you name it, to try to kill it. And so far, it is sturdy. What can I say? I will tell you that a couple of days ago, I saw a new critter out in my backyard. And it looks like an otter, but not really like an otter. So I kept calling it a marshal, but it's not a marshal. I think it's a marten. Now, my neighbor up the street, she was walking the other day, and she told me it's a weasel. So, I don't know what it is. And, of course, my cell phone was nowhere nearby, so I could get a picture of it. But eventually, I'm going to catch a picture of that critter, because I want to know what it is. I just find it interesting that they come down all the time, and the birds, it's very interesting. All right, are you ready for a little water in tarnation? It's a fairly short video, not a whole lot of progress, but a lot of progress. I'm going to say a whole lot of progress because I was able to get a lot done. Plus also the tutorial and a couple of other things that I needed to get done around here. All right, what in tarnation? The first story is State Fair Season, 5 Odd Traditions. Labor Day serves as a reminder that the summer season is coming to a close, but the time of year also marks peak season for state fairs, and these celebrations bring with them a number of unusual traditions. Now, you can go look up these different things, and there's usually a video somewhere around out there on YouTube about it, but I did not include links because there are 5 of these listed. The first state fair was held in Syracuse, New York in September 1841, and today the events are held in 48 states, with the exceptions being Connecticut and Rhode Island. I find that interesting. Some states, including Texas, Alaska, and Washington, have multiple state fairs each year. That's interesting too. Celebrations are perhaps best known for those deep-fried foods, carnival rides, musical performances, and agricultural demonstrations. But some state fairs' claims to fame are a bit more unusual, with traditions including butter cows, hot air balloon races, and giant cabbage competitions. Here are 5 of the oddest traditions celebrated in U.S. state fairs. Butter cows. This is Ohio, Iowa, and Illinois. The figure of a cow sculpted from hundreds of pounds of butter was first displayed in the Ohio State Fair in 1903, and it was followed by similar sculptures that debuted in the Iowa State Fair 1911 and Illinois State Fair in 1922. Several other states unveiled their own version of the butter cow in recent decades. Those are Michigan, Minnesota, and Kansas. Some states have added their own spin on the tradition with accompanying butter sculptures of calves, other animals, local agriculture icons, sports heroes, and historical figures, Pennsylvania being one of them. Today, Sarah Pratt serves as a sculptor for both the Iowa and Illinois butter cows. She said it takes several weeks to craft each buttery bovine. Don't you love that name? Bovine. Then, Alaska, the giant cabbage weigh-off. Several state fairs feature competitions for giant pumpkins, including Alaska. But the state is also famous for a unique spin on the agricultural contest, the giant cabbage weigh-off. This contest features farmers from across the state tipping the scales with their most corpulent cabbages to compete for $2,000 in prizes. The 2012 Giant Cabbage Weigh-Off saw a world record set when Palmer resident Scott Robb's gargantuan greenery weighed in at 138.25 pounds. That's a lot of coleslaw. Or crack slaw, whatever. Indiana, hot air balloon races. The Indiana State Fair held its first balloon race in 1975, and the contest proved so popular that it is now an inaugural event of the fair, weather permitting. The race follows the hare and hound format, in which a balloon dubbed the Hare leads the competitors on a chase while the teams in the Hound balloons attempt to toss a beanbag with the streamer as close as possible to the center of the target marked with an X. The balloon race has been called off several times due to unsuitable weather, including, unfortunately, this year. Giant slides. That sounds like fun. That's Wisconsin and Minnesota. Since 1968, the Wisconsin State Fair has invited visitors to experience the original low-tech thrill ride, a 5-story tall giant slide. An identical slide made its debut in the Minnesota State Fair the following year. Both slides, which send riders seated on burlap sacks down a 170-foot-long track, were created by Fred and Beverly Pitroff, who were inspired by a similar but much smaller slide they encountered in Santa Cruz, California. The couple created 42 of the slides, but the ones found at the Minnesota and Wisconsin state fairs are the only ones still operated by the Pitroff family. The couple's daughter, Stacy Pitroff, held her wedding at the top of the slide during the Minnesota State Fair in 1993. Rooster crowing contest. This is Kentucky. The Kentucky State Fair annually plays host to one of the most ear-splitting competitions imaginable, a rooster crowing contest. The contest features Kentuckians bringing their most vocal birds to see whose rooster can crow the most times in a 15-minute period. The crowing competition has been an annual tradition since at least the 1960s. John Ball, the fair's crowing commissioner, said legend has it the contest started as a means to settle a dispute between two feuding farmers. The contest winner goes home with $5 and a bag of chicken feed. And claim to fame. Next story, cat living in Home Depot in New Jersey becomes an online star and has a huge TikTok following. A cat living at a Home Depot store in New Jersey has become a full-fledged social media celebrity and has even been drawing new customers into the business. Jeffrey Simpkins, whose TikTok videos of Leo the cat went viral, said he wanted to document the feline after first encountering him at the Mount Laurel store last month. The very first one I did, the first day it hit 4.5 million views, he told WTFX TV. I'm happy if I get 1,000 views on a video before this. He also told the TV station that Leo's devoted fans admire his unique personality, like he's friendly. He wears clothing, unlike other cats, and he has several places he sleeps at. Store employees said Leo was a former barn cat brought to the store about a year ago to help solve a mouse problem. The employees take care of Leo and make sure he gets regular vet checkups and has a place to sleep when the store is closed on holidays. Some customers said they come to the store just to see Leo. I'd do that. But then again, I also have, writing fetishes, so I would be there looking at the post-it notes and the writing instruments as well. It is the last week of summer, so we figured we'd go see this cat and make the most of it and see if we can be part of his fan club, Cherry Hill resident Michelle Lithberg said. This next video is interesting to watch, but it can also be a little scary. Shark chasing seal rams New Zealand kayaker twice. A New Zealand kayaker recording video of a shark chasing a seal captured video when the shark rammed into his boat not once, but twice. Greg Potter said he was fishing in his pedal-powered kayak a few miles off the coast of Waihu Bay when he saw a commotion in the water that he initially thought was some tuna. Potter got closer to the splashing and soon discovered it was actually a seal being chased through the water by a shark. The Potter said it appeared to be a young great white shark, but expert who reviewed the footage said it may have been a mako shark. The fisherman said he tried to stay at a safe distance away from the chase, but the spill sped towards his kayak with the shark in hot pursuit. The seal attempted to hide under the kayak. When the seal hit under the kayak, the shark came crashing up from underneath and smashed into the bottom of the kayak, Potter told the New Zealand Herald. Then they did another few laps around the kayak, and then a second time the shark again smashed the underside of the kayak. Potter said he nearly fell out from the second impact, spurring him to pedal quickly away from the scene. That was a good idea. If it had managed to get me out of the kayak, that could have been a pretty disastrous ending, he said. No doubt. With an injury. I'm sure you've seen this next video, and if you haven't, there of course is a link. Police encounter modified car with bull riding in the passenger seat. Police in Nebraska detailed an encounter with an unusual vehicle that had been modified to allow a Watusi bull to ride in the front passenger seat. The Norfolk Police Division said officers responded to a call about a vehicle on eastbound U.S. Route 275 with a bovine riding shotgun. The officers received a call referencing a car driving into town that had a cow in it, Police Captain Chad Ryman told News Channel Nebraska. They thought that it was going to be a calf, something small, or something that would actually fit inside the vehicle. The officers were shocked to discover the grown bull actually full-grown Watusi bull, was riding in the passenger seat of a modified car. The officer wrote him some warnings, Ryman said. There were some citable issues with that situation, but the officer chose to write him a warning and ask him to take the animal back home and leave the city. Area residents said the driver, Lee Meyer, and a bull named Howdy Doody are a common sight on Naily area seats. A video captured by a surprised onlooker who saw Meyer driving the modified car with Howdy Doody in the O'Neill area previously went viral in 2018. And there is a link to that video. I have a friend who raises bees and collects the honey, and she was telling us a story about how she was at Walmart getting groceries and her husband called her and said, "Where are you?" She said, "I'm getting groceries." He said, "Well, your bees are about to swarm." And of course, when she got home, they were not about to swarm, but they had already swarmed. So beekeepers, or those of you who know, when bees swarm, generally it's because they have outgrown the hive and they are moving on. Which, if you are a beekeeper, you can just put them in another box and start a whole new box. Okay, this next story. 5 million bees fall off back of truck in Ontario. Police in Ontario called in several beekeepers for backup when approximately 5 million bees fell off the back of a truck. The Halton Regional Police Service said officers were alerted about 6:15 a.m. that several boxes of bees had fallen from the back of a truck in Gulf Line in Burlington. We're not sure how or what exactly took place, but at some point the boxes containing bees or beehives slid off the trailer and spilled all over the road, police spokesman Ryan Anderson told CBC News. Several local beekeepers were summoned to the scene to help gather the estimated 5 million bees. Beekeeper Luke Peters said he and his fellow beekeepers had to be extra careful during their efforts because the insects were agitated. It's important for people to understand that honeybees are fairly gentle and really don't bother people unless they are bothered. This is a rare situation where you have to keep your distance from them, he said. Peters said locals can expect there to still be a large number of bees in the area for a number of days. We're going to be leaving some of the crates behind. Some of the bees have escaped, and we're hoping that they'll naturally return to these crates and we'll come back at a later date to pick them up once the bees have returned, he said. Police said the driver of the truck was cited for driving with an insecure load. No doubt. That is it for What in Tarnation. And that's it for this podcast today. All right, I will see you again another day. But as always, be kind to one another, love one another. Get connected to God and turn your radio on. I'll see you again soon. Bye.